Hello, and welcome back to Cosmic Sword Radio. This is part 2 of our crash course into Dungeon Crawl Classics. Today, we're talking about character creation, but first, we need to touch on something that makes DCC distinctly old school: its stance on game balance. Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition is the poster child for codifying this concept. It was designed with the idea that player characters should be portable. A player should be able to use any character in any campaign as long as they're the appropriate level for it, without fear that they might somehow unbalance the party or have access to items that would be problematic. This is because the rate of magic item drops, the math scaling, and every option available to the player is so tightly controlled that a DM should, at any point, be able to deconstruct that character and see exactly how they acquired every bonus they have. It was formulaic, and it was designed that way for portability in a time when online pen and paper role-playing was growing. Now, 3.5 and 5th edition still maintain the concepts of encounter balancing and expect that as you play the game, you will be presented with obstacles that are challenging, but ultimately the hero should overcome. These two editions offer a lot of character customization and are therefore susceptible to min-maxing. Dungeon Crawl Classics, however, answers the question of game balance with randomization. In the same way that shuffling a Magic the Gathering deck introduces uncertainty and evens the playing field, the multiple layers of randomization in DCC allow for players to be given the opportunity to acquire truly powerful items and spell effects without the fear that it will somehow break the game. Do be aware, however, that spells in DCC are capable of changing the game world drastically. This is by design. There is no chance to min-max, as character customization is also randomized and your character's ability scores are rolled 3d6 in order. Now don't worry, you have multiple randomly generated characters to choose from. That is, until we put them through the meat grinder known as the funnel. All characters start at level 0 as simple townsfolk. They're peasants, miners, farmers, and blacksmiths, and they wield the tools of their trade like pitchforks, shovels, hammers, and even scissors, and their lives are about to change forever. You see, the funnel is the inciting incident that changes your normal level 0 people into level 1 adventurers with an actual class like Cleric, Thief, Warrior, or Wizard. Each player starts with 2 to 4 pre-generated characters, all acting as a crowd of local rabble. Be aware that if a character drops to 0 hit points in the funnel, they die outright, whereas characters level 1 and higher have a chance to be revived. By the end of this starting adventure, most of the PCs will have perished. Those remaining become the party. But how do we make a level 0 character? Well, first we roll for our ability scores. DCC has 6 ability scores, being Strength, Agility, Stamina, Personality, Intelligence, and Luck. Note that personality is a combination of what might be called wisdom, will, and or charisma in other games. After that, the characters get something called a lucky roll. A random table determines one type of roll that this character will always apply their starting luck bonus to. It can be anything from attack rolls, saving throws, initiative, to turn unholy checks, find secret doors, or the number of languages you know. And yes, you can get a lucky roll that ends up being useless to the class you pick if this PC survives. Next, you roll for the character's occupation. This determines your starting weapon, often a trade tool, an item or two you have on your person, and of course, the nebulous, unlisted idea of what skills your character is trained in. There are 79 occupations, and the most likely role is Farmer, with a range of 39 to 47 on percentile dice. Then you choose an alignment, and Dungeon Crawl Classics takes an old school approach here as well. Back in the day, alignment was not a grid, but a line, and your alignment had cosmic implications. The universe is embroiled in a constant war between the forces of law and chaos. Does your character view law, order, and structure as the pillars upon which civilization and the good of all rest? Or are they the bars of the prison that cage us all? Should we seek freedom and our true potential and our own ends unbridled? Or do you simply not care either way? Lawful, chaotic, or neutral? These are your choices. From there, this level 0 nobody can purchase some additional equipment, and then it's off to the funnel with them. PCs earn experience for surviving encounters. If the party is put into danger and they make it out of the situation alive, they gain XP. Typically 2 XP, but the judge, what DCC calls the Dungeon Master, can award 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 XP depending on the difficulty. Unlike Lamentations of the Flame Princess or some other OSR games, the different classes don't level at different rates. In DCC, all characters reach level 1 after gaining 10 XP, they all reach level 2 after 50 XP, level 3 after 110, and so on. Optionally, Goodman Games recommends allowing any PC that survives the funnel to reach level 1 automatically. And when you do, you get to choose your class and gain access to a wealth of new abilities. Note that the demi-human classes, Dwarf, Elf, and Halfling, can only be chosen if your starting occupation was for that race. For example, if you were a Halfling chicken butcher or a Dwarven mushroom farmer. And that's how we make characters. Thank you for listening. Next time we'll start digging into each of the 7 classes, starting with Cleric, as we continue our crash course into Dungeon Crawl Classics on Cosmic Sword Radio.